My name is Hansi Lee. And today I'll be sharing, I'm a current senior at Kangchao. And today I'll actually be sharing my experience studying 1 year in the US. And actually, throughout the process of making this sort of presentation, one question sort of kept coming to my mind, and that is that why are us, or actually why are most of us actually going to study in the States? And this question, I only had the answer for actually after my experience studying in San Diego, actually at Torrey Pines High School, and sort of reflecting on these experiences that had a significant impact on my life. And one of the experiences is going to be this: the 2024 first robotics competition and the World Finals event. Now, this event was hosted in Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas, and the size of which is roughly 1.2 million square feet, or roughly 21 football fields. And this event hosted 20,000 students who are excited and passionate for robotics. Each team spent roughly 2,000 hours on their robots, and there's a total of 600 teams coming from 31 different countries, including Taiwan, and they're all competing for first place. Now, I represented our team, which is the Millennium Falcons. That is the name for our robotics team at Torrey Pines. And now, I was originally going to show a sort of video for one of our competitions, but apparently it doesn't really work on the PDF version, so I'll just sort of explain the game rules a little bit. So basically, in this sort of competition, there are two alliances who are facing each other. Each of these alliances have 3 teams, and whichever alliance gets like the highest scores will win basically that round. And this was, so you can see we're on the red side of the field, and basically our strategy in this game was basically just to go to the other side of the field to pick up these sort of hoops, and we sort of pass it to our teammate on the other side, and they are in charge of scoring them into those pits. Now, I will show you some of our achievements prior to this World Finals. And so we actually had won already 2 regional competitions, one in San Diego and one in Port Hueneme. And then we have also won our Best Mentor Award at one of the regionals. And so our team was actually able to achieve these sort of accomplishments due to several factors. And I think it's best for us to start at the beginning, which is exploration. Now, previous to this experience, I've actually had experience participating in the robotics club at Kangchao, and where the teacher was sort of like the head role within the club, where he assigned us tasks to do, or he basically told us what to do with the robots. But one thing that I experienced sort of exploring these new clubs in the US is that most of the clubs were actually student-led, where students were actually maybe like seniors or juniors. There were sort of these heads of these divisions, or heads of just this club overall, and they were the ones that were giving us these tasks to do. And so as I went to this robotics club more often, I began to grow a passion for robotics, and this partially sort of aligned with my sort of interest in electrical engineering. But then I was also interested in learning how to program for these robots. So this, with this like passion, I began to commit more of my time to this club. And basically, maybe like every other day after school for like 2 or 3 hours, or even occasionally on weekends, I would go help out in the club, perhaps to meet a certain deadlines, or also to complete certain projects. And this was a major time commitment, but what we actually did at the club depended on our discipline. So basically, if there wasn't any assignments, maybe we would just like sit around doing nothing. But fortunately, these presidents and these heads, they had these assignments or tasks, maybe of like a part of a project that we needed to complete that day or that week. And so we had to sort of do those at the club, but then also sometimes outside of clubs, which is where discipline of this sort of keeping a work-life balance of maintaining schoolwork, robotics work, and also like other extracurricular activities was very important. And lastly, there's the factor of collaboration. So within the club, actually, we had different divisions. Maybe like there's the programming division, there's the building division, and then there is the electrical division. And essentially, we had to work together in order to, form this robot that is functioning and form like a game plan. But then, as I mentioned earlier, the competition was actually in the format of alliances. So basically, these were not predetermined, and rather we had to sort of find our own teammates at these events in order to sort of collaborate and come up with a plan within maybe like a few hours. And so these skills were actually what allowed for our success, but also allowed me to achieve sort of my dream of exploring electrical engineering and building basically this robot. But now I would like to share some of the experiences and values that are especially emphasized in the US. And I think these two that are emphasized in sort of this competition is gracious professionalism and respect and inclusion. Now, I think gracious professionalism can be best explained by an example. So basically at one of the competitions, actually one of our team members were actually going around and publicly criticizing the other team's performance. And basically our club president was notified of this. So the same night, he hosted an emergency meeting, basically telling us that this was not a tolerable behavior, and that we should also respect other teams and take responsibility and accountability for our own actions. And the same thing goes with respect and inclusion, where throughout several meetings after the competitions, basically, we try to improve the situation within the club and to make sure that no one in the club is actually left out, so that everyone's opinions are actually heard. And this actually, I think all of these contribute to why I want to go to study in the US, but I think I want to end on a note, actually a quote from Hansi Lee, which is Bruce Lee's daughter, and that is that life is not a competition, it is a co-creation. And this was a quote that our Torrey Pines principal loved a lot, and basically this sort of fits the theme of this robotic competition, because even though on the surface it might seem like it's purely a competition, but I think in the end it also sort of goes around back to life and how we co-create these projects, basically these robots, but then we also co-create these memories and these achievements that benefit us ultimately in life, and that's what allows us to sort of make an impact and to make life more meaningful. And so these, along with the 5 factors of exploration, passion, commitment, discipline, and collaboration, is what makes me want to study in the US, because simply the environment there allows more opportunity for students to explore these. Thank you.